Hey there. Okay, so when I say Okinawa, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's something like stunning turquoise water, perfect white sand beaches, right? And you're not wrong. It's absolutely gorgeous, but that postcard image, that's really just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to go so much deeper.
You see, because beyond that shoreline, there's this incredible soul. It's a story of a proud, independent kingdom, of unbelievable tragedy, and of a culture that's so unique and resilient precisely because it was forged in the fires of history. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, first things first, we've got to jump in the time machine. We're going way back, long before Okinawa was even a prefecture of Japan. We're talking about a completely independent nation, the Ryukyu Kingdom. And this place, it built its power in a way that was totally different from its neighbors.
So, back in 1429, the islands unified, and the Ryukyu Kingdom was born. Now, these guys were masters of the sea. But here's the twist. Instead of building a big army for conquest, their power came from trade and diplomacy. They turned their islands into this bustling maritime hub, a vibrant crossroads connecting giants like China, Japan, Korea, and all of Southeast Asia. And this great trading era, as it's called, didn't just bring them wealth. It brought a flood of different cultures and ideas, and that became the very bedrock of Okinawan identity.
And this right here, this quote just says it all. A bridge between all nations. This isn't some modern tourism slogan, okay? This was literally inscribed on a massive temple bell way, way back in 1458. Think about that. Their whole philosophy was to be a peaceful bridge, not a fortress. And that open, welcoming spirit, you've got to remember that because it's key to everything that comes next.
But as you can probably guess, that peaceful era couldn't last forever. The kingdom was about to face a series of absolutely devastating events. And these weren't just political changes. These events would completely shatter their world and reshape the Okinawan soul forever.
Okay, this timeline, wow, it's really a story of slow erosion followed by a sudden brutal trauma. It starts in 1609 when the Satsuma clan from mainland Japan invades, kicking off this odd period where they're kind of subject to both Japan and China. Then bam, 1879, the kingdom is officially dissolved. After 450 years, it's just gone, absorbed into Japan as Okinawa Prefecture. But the absolute darkest moment, 1945, the Battle of Okinawa, also known as the Iron Typhoon, a horrific ground war. And even after that, it's not over. The islands spend the next 27 years under American administration before finally reverting to Japan in 1972. What a history.
And when we talk about that battle, we have to talk about the human cost. This number, it's just staggering. Over 94,000 civilians. Not soldiers, civilians. That was roughly a quarter of the entire population at the time. A quarter. This isn't just a statistic in a history book. It's a deep, collective scar on the island's psyche. It explains so much about Okinawa's profound pacifism today.
So after the war, you have this 27-year period of U.S. rule. It was called America U, the American era. And man, what a complicated time. On one hand, you've got this political separation from mainland Japan, but on the other, you have this intense daily cultural mashup. American influence was just everywhere, in the food, the music, the way of life. It was a really strange, formative period that set the stage for a totally new kind of Okinawan identity.
So that brings up a really big question, right? How does a place, a people, even begin to process a history like that? Well, in Okinawa, the answer lies in this one single, incredibly powerful idea, a concept that shows them how to take all that hardship and turn it into a creative force.
And that concept is champaru. Now, you might have heard of it as a stir-fry dish, and you're right, it is, but it's also so much more than that. It's a whole philosophy. It means something mixed, and it's the spirit of taking everything that life throws at you, the good, the bad, the foreign, the local, and just mixing it all together to create something brand new, something uniquely Okinawan. It's the secret recipe for resilience.
And you can see this champaru spirit in the most beautiful ways, especially in their crafts. So back in the kingdom days, you had these gorgeous, vibrant textiles called bingata, made for royalty. Fast forward to after the war, resources are almost non-existent. So what do? They keep the art form alive, but they start dyeing it on, get this, old flour sacks. Or look at the glass. Ryukyu glass, this beautiful, iconic craft, was literally born from melting down discarded Coke and beer bottles from US bases. I mean, come on, that is champaru in action, turning trash into treasure, turning hardship into art.
Underneath that Champeroo spirit, you've got these three pillars, these core values that really hold up the Okinawan heart. First, and maybe most important, is Nuchidu Takara. Life is a treasure. You can feel how that was born directly from the tragedy of war. Then there's Yuimaru, which is all about community, helping each other out, working together. And finally, Ichira Bachode. Once we meet, we are all brothers and sisters. That one feels like a direct echo from their history as a welcoming trading nation, right?
What's amazing is that this whole complex history, you can literally taste it. The island's cuisine tells the story. On one hand, you have the traditional, elegant, royal dishes like rafute, this slow-simmered pork belly, all based on this idea of food as medicine. But then, you have the post-war fusion food. Pork luncheon meat, introduced in U.S. military rations, is now a beloved staple in Okinawan homes. And taco rice? It was invented in 1984 by a guy who ran a diner near a U.S. base to feed hungry soldiers cheaply. It's the very definition of chempuru on a plate.
Okay, so with all this in mind, how would you actually experience this story if you went to Okinawa? Because it's not just about hitting the tourist spots, it's really about traveling through the different layers of the island's history.
Think of the main island of Okinawa as a living map of its own history. If you go south, you're at the epicenter. That's where you find the remains of the old kingdom's capital, but it's also where the worst of the Battle of Okinawa took place. Head to the central part of the island, and you're in the Champeroo Culture Hub. It's where the U.S. bases are, and you can see that deep American-Okinawan fusion everywhere you look. Then travel up north, and suddenly you're in these ancient World Heritage subtropical forests. It's the timeless, natural soul of the island that was there long before any of this history unfolded. By moving through these regions, you're literally traveling through time.
So let's bring it all back. We started with that simple, beautiful image of a beach. But what we found is a story that's so much deeper, richer, and honestly, way more fascinating.
Because at the end of the day, a trip to Okinawa isn't just a vacation. It's a dialogue. It's a chance to connect with a unique civilization that has its own incredible story of glory, heartbreaking loss, and just unbelievable resilience. To really get it, you have to engage with that history, to feel that spirit of Champeroo, and to see how their past is still so alive in everything you see today.
Look, the beaches are amazing, and they'll always be there. But the real soul of Okinawa, the thing that will stick with you, that's found just beyond the sand. Knowing this story, it doesn't just change what you look at when you're there, it completely changes how you see it all. So now that you know, how will you experience Okinawa?